Welcome back, everyone, to a semifinals post game for the Massachusetts Legacy Leagues. I'm Cade. I got Will with me today. I got Elliot with me today. We're going to discuss these last couple games. You know, four teams were present this week. Only two remain. We got a big finals matchup next week, and we'll talk about who's going to be in that later. And we'll just get right into the action with our first game, which is going to be A1 B2A. All right, so A1 took this one. Let me see, I didn't write it down. 82-70, 12-point win. Dante Rivera leading the way, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. I think he had 4 steals in there too. Manny Sanchez followed up 18 points, 8 rebounds. Angel Sereno, 16 points, 7 rebounds. A very low scoring game from our boy Darwin Perea, only 7 points, but he had 7 assists, and defensively he was there every play, always running down communications. I think he did exactly what he had to do when the offense wasn't hitting for him. For B2A, the whole story was Mo Ashley. 34 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 7 threes, or made 7 threes. A little credit to myself. I said I think he was going to be the factor in this game. He was a big factor in this game, scoring 34 points, almost half their points. Daraj Devance, also another factor in this game. 13 points, 5 rebounds. He had 7 blocks. And, I'm going to be honest, there was at least 2 or 3 blocks that got called fouls that 100% were blocks. He should have 9, almost 10 blocks. I don't think we've seen 10 blocks so far in the Massachusetts Legacy League, so that would have been the first. But yeah, they didn't have their leading scorer, Giordani Neville. I heard he got hurt. I thought they were optimistic he was coming back, but he didn't show up this week. Hopefully he is doing okay. But rest of B2A didn't really show out. Samaj shot efficiently, but no, they really just needed a little more to get past A1. It was a slow start. I think it was a 21-11 finish for the first quarter. I'll just bounce this out to one of you guys. I don't want to be talking for too long. What won A1 this game, Elliot?
I'll tell you what won them the game. Christian Caraballo hitting maybe the biggest shot of all people. He hit a three that erased all of V2A's momentum, and that actually you could make a case that that won them the game. But really, it was more of a dominant effort than the scoreboard shows. Once A1 kind of took their foot off the gas, it got a little closer. But even with Darwin not having his best game, A1 still did what it always does, and Manny Sanchez came through. He showed up a little late, but once he got on the court, he made an immediate impact. And they've been my team. This isn't a surprise to anyone. I've picked them since day one, and I think this game was a different way that they won than what we normally were accustomed to seeing. And that's what makes them dangerous. When you can win in multiple ways, that's signs that you're a great team.
Yeah, I know. We usually see Darwin Dante putting up 60 points themselves, but Dante didn't have Darwin nailing 6 for 7 from three, or hell, 7 for 7 from three when it comes to him. But he was out there hustling every play. I mean, the communication from this team, we give them some crap for, yelling at each other, but at the end of the day, that's what gets them these wins, and the communication is key. It's not like they're not mad at each other. I guess, yeah, they're mad in the moment, but it's family with them. They say it every week. It's family with them. And yeah, like you said, Manny showing up late. I swear, every he shows up late. Like, he must have something right before this, but he shows up late every time, and like, it's like, to any like Marvel fans out there, it's like when Thor shows up on Wakanda. It's just like, he's here, and then just everyone's like, "Uh-oh, man, he's here," and you know what's up. And he just, uh, when he's driving, it's even Daraj was having some trouble with him, and Daraj is one of, if not the best defender in the league, per me, and a lot of our guys think so too. Um, he had 7 blocks, and still it's hard to contain Manny when it's down low. Manny can shoot the ball too. He didn't really shoot it as well as he did in previous weeks, like we've seen him do, but wasn't needed. We can point out any flaws in A1, but they weren't flaws. It was just things that weren't happening. You can go, Elliot.
There, there was one play where Daraj had a heck of a block on Dante. No, on Dar. No, on yes, it was Dante. The next play, Manny comes in and dunks on him. And I literally, right before that moment, I turned to the B2A bench and I said, yo, Daraj is having like one of the best defensive games I've seen. Next play gets dunked on by Manny. Like, you can't make that stuff up.
Daraj played so much. It's like it's bound to happen because he's jumping at everything. He had some clean. His blocks aren't even like scrappy blocks too. They are clean blocks. Like he has two hands over the ball at some points. Um, I'll give Will a chance to talk before we keep going on and on about that. But B2A, what didn't happen for them? Why didn't they get this win?
They started very slow. That was their issue. I mean, they couldn't hit anything to start the game, and I think the score was like 15-2 at one point. And shout out Mo Ashley. He really kept them in this game. 34 points, very impressive from him. I did not see that coming. It's like almost every time he put up a three, I knew he was going to hit it because he was on a heater. It's just that, but the reality of the situation is he had no help, and that's not a grudge against anyone on B2A. B2A's had a great year. They're a great team. They've really progressed as the season gone on. But it was the Mo Ashley game, but he just didn't have enough help at the end of the day. And A1 will do that to you. Even when Darwin Perea is not having the best game, even when Dante has to take the keys to the car and steer it. I mean, like overall, this is A1 is the most talented team in the league. I've said this many times. I may have not picked them to win at all, like I did last week, but I did have them winning this game. I thought it would be closer personally, but at the end of the day, A1's the best team, and you can't start slow against them. Any team that goes against them, you have to hang what they're scoring and get runs at the right time. Everything has to be timed perfectly, and B2A. I don't know if it was nerves or they just weren't prepared the way that they presented themselves, but yeah, they just couldn't keep up for the most part.
We'll get into it a little later, but that the point you brought up that you can't start slow. I think this finals matchup might be decided in the first quarter. The winner might come out on top in the first quarter. So we'll talk more about that because we do have to talk about the second game. Before I move on, you guys want to say anything else about this game? No, we're good. Go, Will.
I'm intrigued to see how Darwin Perea responds. I mean, 7 points. I could see he was frustrated out there. He was yelling. He was very vocal of with his frustration of how he wasn't hitting from three like he usually does. But at the end of the day, like he's one of the best players in the league, and we know he'll reply. And it's just a matter of time. I mean, this is a big game coming up. Of course, everyone knows that watches this, and I'm intrigued to see how he replies.
I think he'll do a great job. I mean, when a player that averages 30 is having a rough night, obviously you're going to be aggravated. But the way he was able, I think he controlled it pretty well. He asked for a sub. That's what you got to do when you're not hot. And he knew he shouldn't just keep shooting threes if they weren't knocking him down. He let Dante kind of, like you said, take the keys and drive the car. Yeah, it takes a player to know when they're not having the greatest night to take a step back because he put trust in his team and they got him the win. So obviously he knew what he was doing out there. Um, yeah, I think that wraps up that game. We'll move on to the second game, which was the Reapers FTG matchup. And so Reapers took this one by 14. It was 64 to 50. I don't think we thought it was going to be this close, but this was basically the same game they had against them earlier in the season. It felt like that we were watching the same game, really. It was just that onslaught of Reapers defense, and it wasn't really the offensive game that we've seen the Reapers have. We've seen the Reapers put up close to 100, I think, 3 or 4 times this season, and they just got over 60 this week. And low scoring FTG. But Jamel Banks led Ebanks, right? Jamel led the way for Reapers, which I don't think we've seen before. I think he's been at least second a few times in scoring, but I don't know if he's led the way. 16 points, 9 rebounds. Uh, Kevin Views only 13 points, shot 5 for 7 though. It, Trent was talking like, I don't want to see you put up 10 threes, this and that. I want to see you hitting them. He didn't have to, man. He put up 5 for 7 and knew when to be quiet, knew when to not shoot the ball, get his other teammates involved. Josh Monty, 11 points. He shot 4 for 5. These guys were so efficient. Josh Monty at the end of the game hit a turnaround three. He turned around like as soon as it was released, and I was right there on the sideline. That was such a fun moment. Um, Carlos Bermudez Glean, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 6 steals. The difference maker in this game? Probably, I'd probably say so. He didn't shoot well though. He shot like 4 for 12, but we won't hold that against him because he did everything else correct. Um, this kind of a weird stat. Quentin Petty, 0 points, 12 rebounds. That's a Dennis Rodman stat right there for the Legacy Leagues. But like that, like I said, him and Carlos not scoring the most points, but they're the difference makers here. That 12 rebounds is huge, especially when it comes to this league. Those rebounds, you put them right back up, pass it out, especially when it's 4-on-4, getting a rebound is huge. Um, for FTG, kind of we had some hope last week. We saw a couple of other guys step up, in Daquan and Sebastian, but no, this week it was just Ethan, 20 points. I think the next highest was Daquan with 10. Yeah, and it wasn't that Ethan wasn't passing the ball. Like we say, I know teams call him out for being a ball hog, basket chase, whatever they want to say. He had 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals. He's playing defense. He's passing the ball, and he's the reason he's getting assists. So he's not just passing the ball when he can't dribble. He's passing the ball to open shots or good cuts, and he's getting his team involved. But you got like Terrence Gallo, who we were talking about for maybe even fifth man of the year, just not taking a shot. Uh, he's so efficient at the rim. I want to see him taking these shots. I know he doesn't shoot threes like ever, but and in the playoffs you got to kind of shoot the ball. Um, Cole Sullivan, Jack, did not have a great game. I think they shot combined 2 for 13. Sebastian had a good game. He shot 4 for 6, but that's all he put up. He's averaging like 25 points in the summer, man. He definitely needed to be the second option, I think, this week, because he's played this Reapers team in the summer, and he beat them in the finals when they were undefeated. He knew what he needed to do to beat this team, and it just didn't really come out the way they wanted to. And I think this is a perfect kind of example of a super team in FTG and a well fleshed out balanced team in the Reapers. Because they got guys leading the way for scoring. You got Kevin that could do it. Josh Monty could do it. Carlos could even do it. Jamal did it this week, and he usually doesn't do it. But for FTG, we just seen Ethan kind of perform every week at the top. Besides, I think Cole performed one week. I think he was the leading scorer over Ethan. I don't think anybody else was the leading scorer over Ethan the entire season. And when you got a super team, it's about kind of figuring out that chemistry and what you got to do to get those guys into positions they're not usually in when it comes to limited scoring and maybe passing the ball up when they have an open shot here and there. And yeah, it just was not their night for tonight. Will, I know you guys weren't watching this game, so I tried to talk a little bit more about it, but you did pick FTG. I think you both picked FTG against, I picked the Reapers, just so we know before you guys start talking, but thank you for the round of applause. But talk about FTG, Will. What happened?
They just did not get enough help from their role players, as I was mentioning, and that's been a big problem this year. They don't have that chemistry that I thought they were going to gradually grasp as the season went on. And I picked them because on paper, they were the most talented team in the league. Sebastian Delone is on this team. He's a champion. Ethan Austin. I mean, this guy can put up 50 points in a heartbeat. Cole Sullivan, complete maestro, and he just facilitates the game. We didn't see that. Terrence Gallo's like a complete missile off the bench. None of that happened. Same with Daquan Durham. I mean, he was second in scoring for FTG tonight, of course, or that night, of course. But I mean, nothing. It just the chemistry wasn't there. It made me think of the 2021 Brooklyn Nets almost. I mean, like you have the talent, you have the size, you just can't get it going when you need to. And at the end of the day, like this team, they had all the talent in the world. They just got cold at the wrong times. And the one thing about Reapers that I have to shout them out for is their consistency. They always stay consistent. They always score consistently. If Kevin has a bad night, someone covers for him. Tonight it was Eubanks. Shout out to him. Last week it was uh, Phillips and Josh Monty. So I mean, like they have different options because they understand their roles. I feel like that was a big problem with FTG all year, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything to FTG. I'm not mad. I mean, this is all for fun at the end of the day, but I mean, I think this is one of the more disappointing stories going into the offseason is FTG and how they fell so short of the finals when they were a championship favorite coming into this season.
No, definitely something to talk about for the off season. I mean, do you break up a super team or do you just keep trying to get better together? Because you know you all have talent, or do some of these guys want to be that guy that Ethan Austin? Ethan Austin. It's not like he's hogging the ball. He's averaging like 5 assists. So it's not like this is the Ethan Austin show. He's trying to get his team involved, but maybe some of these guys just want to be the leaders on their team. We see it all the time in the NBA. Like super teams break apart and then boom, they're gone and they got to rebuild. Yeah, well,
They haven't been able to control runs. I mean, that was a big problem in their game against A1 this year. I remember that I was working. I mean, like when it comes to a team like FTG when they're that talented, you have to compare them against the best. And the two best teams above them are obviously Reapers and A1. Reapers was the best defensive team in the league. That is without question. And they showed that both times. I mean, Ethan Austin was held to under 30 points, and he's one of the better premier players in the league, of course. And he was held. Everyone else on the team was held to under 20. And it's just like that, the suffocating defense of the Reapers is what got them. And the thing with A1 is they turned it into a track meet. So clearly, at the end of the day, FTG has their style. And no one knows what it is the weird part. But we know what A1 style is. It's score, and when you can't get in the paint, go outside to Darwin and Dante and see what they can do and use them as 3-point threats. And then obviously Reapers is play some suffocating defense and keep the game under 50 points. And I don't think FTG had a real recipe to success like that. I mean, the games they really won were the games where Ethan had to play with play out of his mind almost. I mean, that's just my perspective on it. I had a lot of hope for this team. I'm very disappointed that they fell, but what are you gonna do?
I'm
Sports.
exactly sports. No, yeah. Suffocating defense is in fact how the Reapers play. You did mention Adrian Phillips. I didn't even talk about him when I said potential leading scorer. He did lead the team by a lot a couple nights ago or a couple weeks ago. Um, and him and Carlos weren't here last season, so they don't really have that like history of losing in the finals. But all these other Reapers, actually, besides Quinn Petty wasn't there either. But besides them, all these other guys are returning, and they know what it's like to lose in the finals, and they do not want to do it again. Um, give some props to the Reapers, Elliot. Go for it. Kind of talk about the Reapers. What was working for this game, how that kind of was shown all season, and we'll talk about the finals in a few.
Yeah, during our All Star pod what was that, last week? I told you that Carlos Bermudez clean pick is more impactful than you'll know, man. The defense and the hustle he provides, and that addition is I think gives them a chance to do make some noise in the finals. I will say that Kevin Views is playing his role about as well as anybody in the league. I don't care how many shots he takes. I just care that he doesn't turn the ball over and he makes the people around him better. And that's what he's doing. And this was a very talented FTG's team. I don't have any excuses for them. They just simply got outclassed in this one. And I think Will hit it on the tee. Just about how disappointing it is to see, a team that was very good in the regular season, not even really put up. You would have liked to see them put up more of a fight in this game. But as for the Reapers, they have maybe the most complete team. I we talk about A1 and their weaknesses. There's not many with the Reapers either. And if Kevin Views scores 30 in the championship, we'll get into it, but like he's one good game away from capturing a chip, like an elite performance game. He's not doing that right now, and they're winning because he's playing his role, as I said. So, man, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a really good game, and I just really like the way that the Reapers are built. I like the way that they've come together throughout this season, and they're on a destiny right now, man. Let me tell you.
Dude, these last few, I think 3 or 4 weeks, Kevin keeps telling his guys, like, stop complaining about the refs. In these last few games, I haven't heard them complain about the refs that much. If it's one guy, saying this and that, that's fine. But like as a team, they're staying so focused, and they have their mindset on this championship. They're not worried about, you know, shooting 4 for 12 or getting a turnover here. They're they're not worried about the mistakes they're making. They're just worried about winning that chip, and it shows. And Kevin knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's taking 7 shots, looking for Trent out there, saying like, "You like this, Trent? Yeah, this is what you told me, not to do. You wanted me to shoot more and score more, but I'm still winning out here." I I think it was like there was at least like 5 minutes left, and the game kind of felt over. And I picked them last week, and all the Reapers like addressed that in the week that I picked them. And Kevin just like kind of looked over at me in the sidelines and just smiled because he knew I knew what was up, and they did exactly what I thought they were gonna do. Um, but yeah, let's just quickly. I mean, I statistically this game was like really close, but that just shows that it's that on-ball defense that doesn't even result in a turnover that is changing the games for Reapers. It's just forcing up tough shots, forcing Ethan Austin to go to the rim, try to hit an acrobatic shot that we know he can make, but you don't want to be taking those when your team's down. Um, but yeah, they know what they're doing, and back to familiar grounds here in the finals, and we'll talk about that right now. We'll just go right into it. Um, A1 Reapers. Um, I know I picked B2A last week because I love my underdogs. But I picked Reapers, you guys picked FTG, you picked A1. So we kind of are a mixed bag here. No one predicted this exact matchup, even though it's the 1 and 2 seed. Um, we didn't want to be boring. We didn't want to pick the 1 and 2. That's boring. Not boring. No, I wouldn't say that actually, because this is probably the most entertaining game. We said the B2A A1 might be the finals matchup, but something about watching those Reapers play last week, this this is definitely the finals, dude. Watching Reapers play all season, kind of get to this point, uh, it's the story, man. Them losing in the finals after an undefeated season, and they're only one game away from fixing history. Um, let's quickly talk about the first matchup they had. All the way back in week 1, A1 handed them their first ever regular season loss. Sorry, almost sneezed. It was a 93-79 win for A1, 14-point difference there. But this was a huge game from Kevin. Like you said, we want to see a huge game from Kevin in the finals. 27 points from him, 16 from Josh Mani, 18 from Carlos, and 18 from Carlos in his first ever game. That's huge. But we've kind of seen him step away from scoring, doing everything else. So maybe that translates into a different kind of vibe for this game. Reapers also didn't have Jay Sean, and they also didn't have Quentin Petty, two of their bigger guys that are going to kind of disrupt the paint. Um, and like I said, I think they have that perimeter lockdown defense that when it comes to A1, that's their two options. You're shooting the ball from 3 efficiently. That's the key, efficiently. And if that's not working, get it to Manny, get it to Felix, get it to Angel, get it to anyone that can score down low. And that's what they do. But when you got guys like Quentin Petty down there, it's a lot harder. Quentin Petty is an amazing defender. He's an amazing defender. Like I said, 0 points, 12 rebounds. That's a difference maker. And I think they haven't played him with Quentin Petty and Jay Sean. Jay Sean's had a quiet season, but he was an all-star last year. He brought them to the finals. He was their second leading scorer last season. Um, yeah, I think this is going to be a different game than we saw. Probably a closer game, hopefully a closer game. Makes it very fun for us to watch. Um, not much really to say about A1. I would say they're the favorites. The 1 seed. They haven't lost. They're undefeated. Just like the Reapers were the favorite last year. Uh, I know you said that Will time about uh, A1. History repeats itself. A1 going undefeated, coming to the finals. Maybe we see history repeat itself here. Talk about that. Talk about what has to either. You can kind of choose what has to go wrong for A1 for them to lose, or what has to go right for Reapers?
I think it's a mixed bag here, honestly. I mean, first of all, having Quinn Petty's huge. You got to stop Felix Moore in the paint. He's been a problem all year for every team he's gone against. He's very physical down low in the paint, and he's another option. And the same with Manny Sanchez. Stopping them is priority one. It's not. It's easier said than done, but trying to control them is priority one. And the Reapers have the defense to do it, and that's why this is such a fascinating matchup because it's the best offense versus the best defense, and it's the saying is defense wins championships. Reapers was here last year, and they're back. They know what it's like to lose this game. I don't know how I asked them last week. I said, how are you guys coming into this game with a having the experience of losing last year? And Carlos said, this is different. And I believe him when he says it because this is a good team. This team is very defensively sound. They they rebound well with Quinn and Petty in the paint. Same with Eubanks. Kevin Views doesn't even have to do as much as he usually has to do, and they're still winning by double digits. I mean, like, this is the best matchup we could have got by far. I mean, Reapers and A1 played the first game of the year. I think A1 got Reapers at the right time. I think A1's getting Reapers at the wrong time right now because Reapers have had an entire year to settle into this league and digest, obviously, their championship loss last year. And they've lost 2 games this year, so they've battled adversity more than any other team, really, in this league, taking a championship loss and 2 losses in the regular season to the team they're playing in the championship, and then B2A, who has been the mystery of the league all year. So at the end of the day, this is a matchup that I think favors Reapers, in my opinion, because one, defense is the most important thing, and I think they have the best defense. And two, Kevin hasn't had to do that much. If he, as Elliot said, if he has that one game that takes them over the edge, I feel like he can do it because there's certain players in this league you can trust. There's the Dantes, the Ethans, the Kevins. This is going to be an interesting matchup. I know Darwin's going to reply from last game. I want to see how the Reapers respond to that offensive masterclass that he's going to put together because you almost expect it with Darwin. Dante, we'll see how he does. He's been consistent all year, but I want to see if Kevin takes that step and says, "Hey, I was here last year. I know the pain. I had the experience. You guys don't, and I'm going to take advantage of that."
All right, I've just got to go. Elliot, just go straight for it.
Yeah, I agree with mostly everything that Will said. Uh, listen, I'm not gonna choose the Reapers to win this game, but I'm almost hoping that it comes down to uh, A1 needing to beat them as opposed to the Reapers losing to A1 and beating themselves. I really want to see it be a back and forth game just so we can see one, see these two teams at their best, and two, it would prove that the regular season and the first 2 playoff matchups weren't a fluke, and that these teams are as good as they have looked. Um, just because, like, you know, you're in the championship now. This is you win or go home, right? This is do or die, and the better team has to show up. I still think it's A1. I want to give some love to Angel. He had 12 points in the first quarter that helped A1 get out to. I meant to shout him out. That was the difference. That was the difference of the score. It was 12 points. Little, you know, so word I'm looking for, just help and contributions like that go overlooked a lot. And I have a feeling it's going to be somebody that we're not expecting that comes up with a big shot, just like we saw in the A1 game Who did I mention earlier? It was Christian. Christian had that big shot at the end, and he was in as a sub. You never expect plays like that, and when they happen, it's amazing. And I'm kind of hoping that it's not just the stars who, control this game. It's the bench and it's reserves that we've seen because these are the two best teams in the league. Will, as you mentioned, let's see what they got. I hope they use every man. I hope they have to use every man. Uh, and just two very talented teams. No matter who wins, great season for both of them, and they can have confidence in going into next year. Although if the Reapers lose again, that's really tough. That you start thinking, okay, they've made it here twice. Well, they haven't been able to get over that hump. Will they ever be able to get over that hump? So the pressure's definitely on the Reapers more, but listen, if A1 loses, I'm gonna hear it. I'm gonna hear it for the all of time. So yeah.
A1, you gotta represent for our boy Elliot. He's been rocking with you all season. Don't let him down. Do not let him down. But that being said, Reapers don't let me down. I picked you. Don't let me down. Um, but funny you actually said that about you wanting to be someone else making that important shot. Last year, I just pulled up the box score from the finals last year. Funny enough, Jay Sean and Josh Monty actually led the way for the Reapers. Kevin only shot 4 for 10 and scored 11 points. Um, Jay Sean led the way, or didn't he? Second leading scorer, 12 points, 15 rebounds. Um, then Josh Monty led the way with 20 points. So those two kind of stepped up in the finals last season. Kevin, he knows he didn't perform as well as he could have. They lost by 1 point, and it was actually a very late last second three from their Mob's fifth man. I think he won fifth man of the year. Dante Fogel actually only hit one shot all game, and it was a 3-pointer. I think with like 40 seconds left to put them up by 1, 2. I could be wrong. I was on the box, or I was doing the scoreboard because Joey asked me to help out. I was in the league still, so I wasn't in this position I was last season, but I was helping out, and I was so nervous on the scoreboard, dude. You're in the finals, it's a 1-point game, and I'm like trying not to mess it up, and oh, that was scary. But I did good. We made it out. But yeah, like you said, we want to see somebody make one of those shots. We saw it last season. It was a 1-point game, probably the most fun and intense a finals can be. I'm praying for another replication of that, but I do want to see the Reapers win this one. It's not because I don't like A1. The guys on A1 are awesome. I love my guys on A1. They're probably the most fun team to watch. But comparing this to NBA terms, this is like the late 80s, 90s Pistons with like Rodman, Isaiah Thomas as the Reapers. And this is like a Warriors with Durant. Durant being like Manny, I guess. Adding that kind of like you got the Splash Brothers and Darwin and Dante doing everything they can. So we've never seen they never really faced a defensive team like the Pistons because that was literally we heard for years after the Pistons won that championship. Defense wins championships. Ben Wall is this. We heard that forever after that championship. Um, or yeah. So this is gonna be a very close game, I think. Um, completely different game from week one. New guys on the rosters. Angel wasn't there for the A1 week one, so that's something to look at. Yeah, after next week, we'll be sitting here talking about what went wrong for one of these guys, what went right for the other. We'll be talking about the new champion, hopefully talking about some All-Star news, which is coming up soon. I think the All-Star draft is actually about to go live, so by whenever they're seeing this, they will have seen that. So we might catch some flack next week. I know Will, you weren't there, so you're off the hook for now. But Elliot said some words, and they're gonna see that in the All Star draft. But yeah, I think that's all really can be said. A1 and Reapers will do the rest of the talking for us, and we will talk afterwards. And couple more shows. Just want to thank everyone for watching. I love it when all the players come up to us and kind of talk about the podcast, whether they're mad at us like A1 hating on Trent. Trent couldn't be here today, guys. Don't worry, A1. He's not ducking you. He just couldn't be here. So I think. No, I'm not gonna say that about him. But no, thank you to everyone for any feedback, even if you're hating on us. It's fun. We like it. We enjoy it. Let us know what you think. Thank you for watching us all these weeks. Only a couple more left. It's kind of sad to see it go, but I've had a great time. I hope everyone watching has enjoyed it. And we'll see you next week for the finals. Shout out Elliot. Shout out Will. I'm your host, Cade. We'll see you next week.